There are places on this earth that governments would rather you forget. Places where history was made in secret, where soldiers followed orders they could never speak of, and where the echoes of what happened still linger in crumbling walls and rusted fences. These aren't just empty buildings. They're graves of classified programs, failed experiments, and human suffering. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 10 abandoned military bases that hide some of the darkest secrets in modern history. Number 10. Fort Detrick, Frederick, Maryland, USA. Before it became a cancer research center, Fort Detrick was the beating heart of America's biological weapons program. From the 1940s through 1969, scientists here developed some of the most terrifying weapons ever conceived: anthrax, botulinum toxin, plague bacteria. Thousands of animals died in testing facilities. Some workers fell ill under mysterious circumstances. When Nixon ordered the program shut down, much of what happened inside those labs was quietly buried. The buildings still stand. Some of the questions don't have answers. Number 9. Manzanar War Relocation Center, California, USA. Technically a detention facility built on a military framework, Manzanar held over 10,000 Japanese Americans during World War II, people who had done nothing wrong. Families were ripped from their homes, their businesses, their lives. They lived in tar paper barracks in the scorching Owens Valley desert. 2 people were shot dead by military police. The base is now a National Historic Site, but for decades, it was a wound America refused to acknowledge. Number 8. RAF Rudloe Manor, Wiltshire, England. On the surface, it looked like a standard Royal Air Force communications hub. Underground was something else entirely. Carved deep into the limestone beneath Wiltshire, Rudloe Manor housed one of Britain's most secretive Cold War bunkers. Declassified documents later revealed it was tied to UFO investigations. The British government's secret department for tracking unidentified aerial phenomena. Files were classified for decades. Some researchers believe not everything has been released. Number 7. Johnston Atoll, Pacific Ocean. This remote coral atoll, 800 miles southwest of Hawaii, has one of the most contaminated histories of any military installation on Earth. The United States used it to test nuclear weapons, store chemical weapons, and later to incinerate Agent Orange. The soil and water around Johnston Atoll remain toxic. The wildlife that returned is surviving in a landscape permanently altered by human decisions made in the name of national security. The island is officially closed. What's left behind is not. Number 6. Camp 7012, Svalbard, Norway. Deep inside the Norwegian Arctic, Soviet engineers built a secret cold-weather military research station during the Cold War. Officially, it was a coal mining settlement. In reality, it doubled as an intelligence outpost monitoring NATO naval movements in the Arctic. When the Soviet Union collapsed, the station was abandoned almost overnight. Soviet propaganda posters still hanging on the walls, dishes left on tables, entire lives frozen in place like some kind of Cold War time capsule. Number 5. Area 51, Expansion Sites, Nevada, USA. Area 51 itself is well known. What's less known are the satellite facilities surrounding it. Unmarked test sites scattered across the Nevada desert that were used for programs even more classified than the base itself. Declassified documents reference testing of aircraft so advanced that witnesses genuinely couldn't explain what they were seeing. Some of those test sites are now abandoned, some are still active. The boundaries between the two are deliberately unclear. Number 4. Hashima Island, Japan. Though primarily a coal mining facility, Hashima Island, nicknamed Battleship Island, was operated under brutal military-era Japanese imperial authority. Korean and Chinese laborers were brought here by force during World War II, working in conditions that killed many of them. The island was abandoned in 1974 when the coal ran out, and it now sits in the East China Sea, preserved in its state of decay. The ghosts of those forced laborers have never quite left. Number 3. The Nevada Test Site Ghost Towns. When the United States needed to understand what nuclear weapons would do to human settlements, they built entire fake towns in the Nevada desert. Furnished homes, department store mannequins posed as families, cars and driveways. Then they detonated nuclear bombs nearby. Those ghost towns still exist, partially intact, partially vaporized, somewhere in the restricted zones of the Nevada National Security Site. You can't visit them. Photographs that have leaked out look like something from a nightmare. Number 2, Vozrozdeniya Island, Aral Sea, Kazakhstan. Once surrounded by water, Vozrozdeniya Island is now connected to the mainland because the Aral Sea has largely dried up, and that has created a terrifying problem. The Soviet Union used this island as a biological weapons testing ground for decades. Anthrax, plague, smallpox. They buried tons of weaponized agents here, believing the surrounding water would keep it isolated forever. Now that the water is gone, scientists are racing to neutralize stockpiles that were supposed to be permanently sealed away from the world. Number 1, Unit 731, Complex, Harbin, China. Nothing on this list approaches the horror of Unit 731. This Japanese Imperial Army facility, operating from the 1930s through World War II, was the site of systematic human experimentation on a scale that is almost impossible to comprehend. Thousands of prisoners, mostly Chinese, Korean, and Russian, were subjected to experiments involving frostbite, disease, vivisection, and weapons testing. The men who ran it were never prosecuted. In exchange for their research data, the United States granted many of them immunity. The main complex still stands as a museum and memorial. What happened inside those walls remains one of the most haunting chapters in human history. These places are reminders that power without accountability leaves scars that don't fade with time. The buildings crumble, the fences rust, the files get declassified, but the histories remain. If you want to know where the real darkness of the modern world was forged, you don't look at battlefields. You look at bases like these. If this video made you think, drop a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we go places most channels won't.